Johnny Benson Jr., meanwhile, back at Berlin Raceway this weekend for the first time in a decade. Our Zach Herrig has more with the former NASCAR driver.
Well, we are with a man that really needs no introduction, a racing legend and a legend here in Grand Rapids as well, a 1995 Busch Series champion in NASCAR and the 1996 Cup Series Rookie of the Year, Johnny Benson Jr. You're back at Berlin Raceway this weekend. What is it like to be back, a place that's very special for you?
Well, it's going to be pretty fun. You know, it's probably been 10 years since I've raced here, and probably 5 years since I've been in a race car, but it's always a great racetrack. I love coming here. The fans are always great. And you know, it's my home track. It's where I call home.
What are the first memories that you can remember from the 1980s? What can you remember from being out here?
Well, I grew up here because my dad raced here for many years as a 6 or 7 time champion here. And so I grew up at this racetrack. And of course, when I started racing, it was pretty tough. This is one of my top 5 hardest tracks I've ever run at. And it took me 2 years before I won a feature. Then I won a lot of them once I got it figured out. It's a tough place. Got a lot of great competitors here, but really just to come home and race here is something that you always want to do, and it was just the opportunity to do it. You know, it's one of the first times I've ever raced here without my own car.
A lot of accolades for you in your NASCAR career here as well. What means the most to you in your career?
I've been fortunate enough to win a championship at this track. I've won an ASA championship, a Busch Car National championship, and a Truck Series championship, and they're all great. They're all great in their own ways. The only difference is when I started here, it took me 4 years to win one. I went to ASA, it took me 4 years. The one that surprised me is, which is now the Xfinity Series, that we won in our 2nd year. So that to me is very special. I can't pick one better than the other because they're all special in their own way.
How does this track help prepare you for the next level in getting into NASCAR?
This track is a perfect place, and just because it's hard, it's, you know, you can spin the wheels down the straightaways here, so manipulating the gas pedal to make sure that doesn't happen. It's a momentum track, so keeping your corner speeds up is extremely important, and that really adapts to most every racetrack. Maybe not so much for the super speedways or the mile and a halves, but for anything else that you run at, this is why I consider this track one of the hardest ones that I've ever run at. And you know, it's in the top 5 anyways, and I've run at probably 175 different tracks throughout my career.
And we've seen it time and time again, and I think maybe you're an example, almost like Kenny Wallace. You can take the man out of racing, but you can't take the racing out of the man. So after this weekend at Berlin, what's next for you this summer?
Probably not racing, I don't know, but
yeah.
it's hard to say, you know. My friends up in Canada I run the Super Modified with, they actually did build a new car, but with all the pandemic and stuff like that, they're not allowed to even race in Canada right now, and of course I can't go over there to do anything, so I'm not sure if anything's going to happen this year. I'm probably getting to a point that I shouldn't be doing any of it anyway, so it's such a great sport though. I mean, I'm glad to have been a part of it, you know, since I've been 5 years old.
Johnny Benson Jr., thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
All right, guys, let's go back to the studio.